More Than a Celebrity, where in each episode, we bring you the best and brightest of the business side of celebrity. Both entrepreneurial-minded and cause-focused from Advertising Week's global stage. Covering the gamut of advertising, branding, social impact, and media in the moment. In this episode, we hear from Christina Najjar, better known as Tinx. Tinx is an American content creator and influencer. Tinx racked up a massive social following with 1.5 million TikTok followers and 493,000 Instagram followers. What started with a TikTok account that kicked off mid-pandemic is now It's Me, Tinx, an SXM media podcast and weekly SiriusXM radio show. Advertising Week recently sat down with Tinx to discuss how she won over millions with her authentic content and how she interweaves brand support.
Honestly, when I first started on TikTok, I was in such a raw place, as we all were, because it was in the pandemic,
right.
And I didn't really, I'd be lying if I said there was some strategy. I was just felt like I was stripped bare, and I was like, this feels right, I'm just gonna do it, and I'm so lucky and grateful that my career sort of started from that place, and that was the seedling, because I started that way, and I just kind of carried on that way. And then in terms of how I think about the platforms differently, obviously audio is a little bit more planned out, and it's kind of where I feel I can take my random snippets of thoughts that have been on TikTok or Instagram and flesh them out into a fully blown conversation. So I think of all my content holistically, but I think of my Instagram, my TikTok as a little, a little chat with my followers, and the audio is like the real conversation. It's where we dig into it, and I can have much longer thoughts. So that kind of different, vibe to each of them. I've gone through so many different iterations or so many different feelings about the word, and it is kind of a eye-roll dirty word, but then I thought of some advice that I once gave one of my followers, and she was saying, I feel like embarrassed because I'm a communications major. And I told her, there's absolutely nothing embarrassing about that at all, and it's all about how you say it. And if you say, I'm a comm major, it's not that easy, really, then people will think that you did it because it's easy. But if you say, right. I'm a communications major, I want to be a news anchor, I want to go work at the New York Times, people will be like, holy shit, like that's cool. And I was like, okay, well, I need to take my own advice. And so now I say it proudly. I am an influencer. I take that very seriously. I influence people, how to live their lives, how to spend their money. Like, that's important. And I take that responsibility very seriously because people are putting their trust in me. So I'm taking back the word. I started in May of 2020, and by August I remember my first brand deal was a clothing brand deal, and they reached out to me directly, and they were like, we'll pay you $600 to wear like our clothes in TikTok. And I was floored. I was like, oh my God. Like, I called my mom. I was like, I'm gonna make a little extra money, I think, on the side. Like, this is crazy. Like, oh my God. And then it was just like, whoa.
Off to the races.
Yeah, and then like a week later, Amazon called, and there was some more zeros on the end of the number, and I was like, ooh, okay. But it's, brand deals, what a wild
wild ride.
Yeah, I also feel like I had an advantage because of my age about the brand deal thing, because even though I was fresh new to influencing, I was thinking, as I mentioned before, how people don't like inauthentic, bad, like, they're just over the fake influencer vibe. Yeah. So I really worked hard to only influence things that I actually cared about. And also because I'd made a name for myself of being so honest that if I suddenly was like, here's this thing, they'd be like, no, that they don't like that. And I've been really lucky, and a lot of that is because of my amazing team. We work really hard, and I would rather do one really awesome brand deal than like 10 mini brand deals. And also I think, you have to be careful. I think a big mistake that influencers can make is to do too many brand deals, and it gets annoying. And even though most of the content that I put out is free to consume, it's still it's advertisement. So I'm mindful of that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
And that's a wrap for this episode of More Than a Celebrity. From Advertising Week's global stage, we hope you enjoyed this inspiring and forward-thinking interview with Tinx. See you next time.